Hello and welcome to Fun Fresh Thursday. Well, you know what? It's Fun Fresh Friday for you.
It is. It's
Oh,
Friday here in Australia, so
yay.
I'm on track for the first time.
So we have a special today um, because of, well, it was a request. So, um, we had, of course, so Rhonda is having a little bit of technical difficulties. So she's trying to get on. But yeah, so the conversation last week was so good. It was actually two hours, and I was like, oh my god. Hello, Natalie. Good
Hello,
evening. Thank you so
Natalie.
much for showing up. We had this, impromptu because it was a request. And behind the scenes, we were trying to coordinate to see if everybody can come back, and we did. And so welcome to Fun Fresh Friday in Australia.
Yes, it's Christmas Eve here in Australia.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
we're just a
And
little closer to
guess,
Christmas than you guys.
oh yes. So we're gonna also invite Brian.
Hi,
Brilliant.
Zanetta. How you doing? Nice
Good.
to have you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome.
You
So
were
you're
saying
talking about Christmas and,
yes.
and, and how we're losing out already to Stefania. Yeah, it's just she's got to be first in everything, I guess.
Yes, she just has to beat us in everything. I'm telling you.
That's you know where she's going next. She says she's going to Hawaii, which is like right on the international date line, I guess.
I'll be closer to you guys.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, you'll be closer to Brian.
Oh but still closer to you because from Australia to you, I'm still a little further away. So
The critical question is one of convenience.
Yes.
I had a client where I did this thing. She wanted to go to Hawaii and she had a sea turtle avatar, and she was a surfer, and so she was off on her surfboard and the sea turtle came up and she got in the back and she just went under and through and under and through, and she ended up in Hawaii in like 2 minutes. It was wonderful. So I don't have anything that works like that, so I couldn't. It would take organization.
Oh wow.
but
Yeah.
not impossible. But not impossible.
No,
Not
no, nothing
impossible.
is impossible.
Not impossible. So when are you going to Hawaii? Is this a Christmas gift for you or what is it?
I don't know. I just put it out there. I said to Brian, I'm planning to go to Hawaii. I don't know how, when, or when it's happening, but I'm going to Hawaii.
It was it was
Oh,
like it was like a permanent thing. It was kind of like, this is my next stop on my exploration of society and habitats and things like that. I mean, she's been in
oh.
she's been in temperate zones for so long. She hasn't been anything that's been like really lush. I guess that may be where she's going for.
Yeah, she needs to go to exotic places,
I've
America's
been to
not one.
many. Actually, you know what? It excites me. I love the exotic places. I definitely. I spent.
Well,
Did you know I spent 4 weeks in Sri Lanka, traveling all over the country, and did mountains and beaches and countrysides. And, yeah,
Wow.
Sri Lanka's
well, you were
amazing.
in Sicily too, right?
Yes. I love
That's got
islands.
is that where Vesuvius is?
No, Vesuvius is in Pompeii. We have Etna in
Oh, so
Sicily,
you have
which
it.
is
So you like islands with volcanoes.
I love that.
This is the
Explosive.
attraction.
Yes. You should go to the Philippines.
Lots of volcanoes there.
Yes,
Really?
we have the most active, smallest volcano in the world.
Wow.
Yes, and you can have a like a window view of Taal.
Really?
Yes, it's
Well,
yeah.
Etna has been erupting quite ferociously, and it's actually erupted in and created 2 other craters on the side. Can you believe it?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The whole gang is here.
Woo-hoo!
Rhonda.
We were stalling just a little
Hi.
bit.
Yeah.
I knew we were coming on. So, well, welcome to Fun Fresh Friday, Australia time.
Oh, yes. So it's New Year's Eve already, right?
No, Christmas
I'm sorry,
Eve.
Christmas
Christmas
Eve.
Eve.
I'm ahead. Look at
You
me.
know what? I'm with you.
I will do. We'll
I'm
do
ahead,
Christmas.
right? I'm really ahead.
I'm with you right there, Rhonda. I'm ready for it to be New Year's Eve. Yes.
Yes.
That's funny.
So we'd like to welcome everyone to Fun Fresh Friday, which is a special edition of Thursday today because of the last week's conversation that we had, the power of giving. We had a really great conversation, and by popular demand, everyone was asking if Brian was going to return. So,
Woo-hoo! Brian! We want Brian! We want Brian! We want Brian!
You know what? Everybody, it's like that. Paul Simon, you know his one album? He's got that song on love.
yeah.
You remember that? You ever hear that? Know the lyrics to that song? It says, love is like candy. We want it so much we gobble it up, you know? And there's just like constraints.
Yeah.
We gobble up and then we get sick internally, right?
You get indigestion.
Yeah.
This is one of the more interesting stories in the Bible. If you like go from beginning to end of it, okay, which is you have Moses who goes up on the mountain and he says, I want to see you in your real form, and the Most High tells him, no, you can't do that. But I'm serious. I want to see you. Okay, I'll tell you what. Go and face into this crack in the wall, and I'll pass by, and you'll see your shadow moving on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the end of the story, and it's like Moses sits with me face to face. I don't speak to him in dreams or visions or anything. He has the freedom of my entire house. We sit face to face and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what happened there in between.
Yeah.
And it's to surrender. The first step is, he goes down and they made this golden calf, and he loses his temper and he throws the tablets in the ground and he kills a whole bunch of them. Okay. And he goes, oh gosh, the tablets are broken. Okay, wow, what am I going to do now? Okay, so he goes back up on the mountain, and God says, Moses, if these people aren't good enough for you, I can get you different ones.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, no, I will be responsible for them. And God hands him the tablets and the tools and says, okay, carve them yourself. Number 1, thou, you Moses, shalt not kill.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, you do not kill people for their lack of faith in me. Okay, you do not give them reason to be afraid of me. You do not divorce them from love with fear. And then Moses walks off, and they tell him to put a sack on his head because his face is glowing with light.
Too bright.
It's just too much brightness. The light is just flowing through him. And it's that surrender of control, of will, your belief that the people, as a leader, an institution, your belief that the people are the measure of your success. And if they err, that's your failing.
So in seeing, because I've read it several times, and you telling the story, and it brings back a lot of questions that I had 30 years ago.
How many?
30 years ago. um, is it how we act today? That when, of course, we're not going to see the real brightness of the individual, but we sense that brightness in them, that we're blinded by
How
it,
do you
and
mean? What do
we
you mean?
want to. Let's say that Stefania is so pure in heart; she just loves everybody. Makes me want to puke sometimes.
I've been told
Everybody is,
that.
let's kumbaya, get all together. We all get along. Because of that, her persona, that's her character. It's not like Moses, where he was shining bright, but it's coming out of her, and as human beings, we see this, and we want, Stefania, you're too bright, you're too lovey-dovey, you're too, so you need to put a veil so that at least we can tolerate you.
Mhm.
Well, this is, let me just bring this back to the topic, okay, which
Mm-hmm.
is, this was Moses' gift,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to the point where when they went into the promised land, he sat on the shore and watched them go, so that they would know it wasn't about him. Okay, he gave himself to his people and prepared them to go.
Mm.
And it's, they say this about Jesus, that, what is it, we are his portion.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and this is what people do when they give themselves. Rhonda, hearing you speak last time, very much this came clear and came through about you. Okay, is that you don't judge anybody who comes to you. Okay, you offer yourself to them. Okay, and you feel them and what they're going through, and you try to find a place, a way for them to come through, and
Mm.
and what's good in them to be revealed to the world again. And that's basically, that's the ultimate gift. Some people think that giving your life is the ultimate gift, but there's kind of a termination. When you die, there's a termination. Okay, when you give yourself to the process of somebody's healing, they're out there wandering out in the world making mistakes, and it's hurting you. And to be in that place of sorrow with them, and not to be angry, not to try to tell them what to do, because they're on their own journey. They have their own purpose in living in love, to heal a portion of the world, and themselves in that process. Um, and so that's why I find the story of Moses to be so profound. Is and we look at it from the Israelites' perspective as they're wandering around with them, and they try to explain it from their perspective. This is what was going on, but they didn't understand what the heck he was saying. That clear at the end. Why did you doubt the word of my servant Moses? Why didn't you listen to him?
Mm.
You know, they didn't understand what he was saying. Um, and so you lead people a certain distance down the road, and they get as far as they can. And they may completely frustrate you. But I think that where we're struggling a lot with religion in the world right now is people believing that if their flock isn't perfect, it reflects upon them. And so they want to
It has nothing
control
to do with
everything
them.
that's going on. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
You know what? I'm over here and I'm just about to explode because you're saying so many things that I think as a people, not just a people, if you're in a faith community or if you're not, you're just someone who is really seeking truth. What we miss is that everyone is on their own journey,
Journey.
individually, at their own pace. And all you're doing when you encounter someone is giving them a glass of water
Mm.
on their journey.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever it is, that it's not on your timeline or your pace, or they're not where you think they should be, that's really none of your business.
Right.
I know, and it's really drastic to say it that way. But I
Yeah.
think if we understand, my whole job is to hold your towel and let you pull it to wipe your own face. And my job is to give you a glass of water and stand there when you take it. And if you don't take it, it's not for me to get upset with you that you didn't take it, right? It's just you're on your own journey. And I know I'm saying it that way, but I think that's what we're missing. And that's where people have the most problem receiving love or believing that you love, because there's so much of your own expectation attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about giving. So when you allow people that time to do their own journey, that's called grace. And you have to extend grace to people. I mean, at least you should. I know I see I'm glitched. You should. You should extend grace. Um, but I don't know if we understand what that is. You know, I offer it to you with judgment or expectation. That's grace. And
Yeah.
when you extend it, that's a gift. To even know that that is what it is a gift. To be able to extend it to someone is a gift. And that's why people don't really trust love, because there's so much attached to it. There's so much of our own expectation attached to love that people automatically, if you're like, I'm bubbly, so I smile a lot and I laugh a lot and I hug people, and okay, well, where you coming from? Because usually you don't get. I'm just seriously, where are you coming from with that? Because the expectation, there's always something attached, or world is cold right now. It's got nothing to do with. Well, I was going to say it had nothing to do with what's currently going on, but maybe it does. But the world is cold right now. I don't really believe people believing love is real, or the
Yeah.
suspect.
I think the attachment or the and correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I see it, when people have certain attachments or certain expectations from the gift giver or the one who's giving, whether it be love, whether it be grace, whether it be friendship, whether it be an
Mm-hmm.
actual gift, an actual item. I think it stems from their past, their story, their hurt, their trauma. So it becomes like a suspicion, like, why is she so bubbly? Kind of thing.
Right.
Why is Stefania so, ugh, she just thinks that everybody, just lovey, so it comes from that suspiciousness or that motive behind it, or that attachment, those strings, is because of the past. I mean, if you look at the Israelites or the children of Israel, um, they can only go by. That's why they sinned again and again and again and again because of what happened. Who was their leader? They had so many different other tribes and leaders that they saw these things. So we're doing the same thing. We see mom, we see dad, we see big brother, we see big sister, we see auntie, uncle, pastors doing these certain things. And now we're being bombarded by all these other things like, what is real love? What is real giving? Until we experience, and like what Brian said, until you give of yourself, till you surrender, because it's not an outside thing, it's an inner thing. Once you do that, and I like how he said, okay, Moses, now you write it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now
Right.
you write it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. So you want to do
And
okay.
I'm sorry, to drop Rhonda, to adopt that affect, but that is just so quintessential, in terms of the experience of the African American woman, or
Mm-hmm.
however they're described in this day and age. I haven't kept up with all that, but it's just like, that enormous reticence and restraint, you know under circumstances which are really, really painful.
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
and it was very, very painful to God to see Moses doing what he was doing. And you know, one of the things when I look at that whole story, you start off with Adam and Eve, and this is the path of the knowledge of good and evil. We didn't, you know, love wasn't good enough for us. We wanted to understand ourselves and to make choices ourselves. So we go off on down this path, and then you get finally the perfection in the person of Jesus. And people pick heroes along that path, and they'll pick some part of the Bible and say, "This is my hero." And when you pick somebody, what that's telling you is that tells you how far along you are, and all the problems that this person suffered and had to deal with, and all of his failings. You will find yourself tempted by those same things.
Mm.
Okay. You know, and people will pick, you know, like David. Okay, David committed adultery. He sent his best friend off to die. You look at Solomon. Solomon adulterated the religion.
Mm-hmm. All of
Okay,
them
he
had fault.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean,
All of
he
them
did
had
that was
fault.
even worse. He married somebody who brought in pagan gods, and they started to worship pagan gods. I mean, and the whole, you know, so the whole thing is you pick out. And right now we're really fixed on kings. A lot of the tradition is fixed on some ruler which will lead us forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's right there in Samuel. You don't want rulers. They're not good for you. Okay, they're going to do bad things to you. You know, and so you see where people are in that journey, and you get a great deal of clarity in terms of what part of the Bible they identify with, in terms of where they are in their journey of growth into surrender to love.
Yeah. So in terms of giving, you know, being the gift, the power of giving with the giving, like you know, you, Rhonda, I'm going to use you as an example. You know, you're bubbly and laugh and all of that, and so that's your gift. That's your gift to who's ever around you, or who's ever in, you know, you're talking to over the phone, and it's taken as, you know,
Suspect.
yeah, what's your motive? What's your
What's your
angle?
motive?
Yeah,
What
what's
do
your
you
angle?
want? Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you want from
So
me?
how do you, as the giver, the gift giver,
Mhm.
how do you approach that? How do you, um, yeah, how do you approach that?
So, you know, I'm uh, sensitive to people, so I can tell where they are as far as how relating to me. So, I will do things to say, you know, no harm. I mean, no harm. You know. So sometimes that means I give them their personal space. I don't push myself on them. Give them time gradually to understand that I don't want anything. I'm not going to hurt them in any way. Um, Even making people feel at ease about their own imperfections. Um, that I'm not looking for you to be perfect. You know, it's okay. Whatever it is, it's okay. You know, just have a minute to laugh and have some fun. And I don't want anything. And if you're not ready to laugh, that's okay. But when you are, I'll be here. I'll be here.
Okay.
And that's how I deal with it. And it's funny. Laughter goes a long way. If you're not feeling well physically, laughter makes you feel better. If you're having a
Yes.
bad day, laughter makes you feel better. My coworker and I are a bunch of cut ups. Can you imagine us being in a room, me being in a room with somebody all day? Poor guy.
Laughter's infectious. It's been proven laughter's infectious.
We
You
laugh.
won't get any work done.
Well, we do. We do.
Uh-huh.
Oh
Yeah.
man, but we're such a cut up. It's like they got to close the door in the hall because we are cutting up all day. But it's good medicine.
Yes,
It's
it
good
is.
medicine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how I deal with it. I just take the other person's cues. If they're not there, ready to laugh, or they've got their own thing with it, I don't impose. I'm still gonna laugh, but I don't impose that onto them. And gradually, it's like, okay, you're the same way all the time, and you're not on any kind of medication or anything. No, that's just you, really. Yeah.
Well, I think that there is something very profound and a reason for people to have that reticence about love, which is that love will change you.
Yeah.
You know, it it it's very sensitive to the fact that it wants you to be joyful. It wants you to be fulfilled. And if you're in that place where you're not joyful, where you're sad, where you're feeling frustrated and alone and isolated, okay, it will seek you out,
Mm.
and it will change you. And people, um, that's an unknown. They've gotten this far in life doing what they've done. And is it really safe to be changed? And this is one of the big things as a hypnotherapist. And Stefani and I operate with this an awful lot, which is trying to make that unknown a known. And so you talk about that, Rhonda, which is just being that same person, letting yourself become a known to the person. And the biggest thing I think that's important is that they're afraid of change. And you stand in a place as the gift giver. And the most profound thing is just to let them bear witness to the fact that you're not afraid at all of them coming into you, of receiving them. You anticipate it with joy.
So how do you get that? How do you get there? Because it's easy to say, you know, the love that I'm giving, the friendship that I'm giving, the grace that I'm giving, the recipient is not ready yet. And as mature adults, and as we understand how giving is, it has to be accepted. You can't force anyone, then it's not given in love, because now you're forcing someone. How do you get there? How do you get to that point of understanding? Because last week we talked about, you get tired of giving. You get tired of, you know, giving love, giving, and it's not being reciprocated, or they feel like, I think one of the comments was, feel like being used, or what was the other ones? I should have wrote it down, but there was a lot of good comments on being tired of giving. So, how do you get to the point of, okay, you're not ready yet? I'll wait. Because love is patience, right? Love is patient. You'll wait.
My answer is going to surprise.
It may not.
Well, maybe not. I maybe not. Well, you've known me long enough. It may not surprise you. Really and truly, you get to that point by being completely rejected, completely misunderstood, completely pushed into a corner, and completely being in that spot of suspicion. And what that does for you is people want to run from that feeling of rejection and being pushed in the corner and ostracism and criticism and, being ignored, and marginalized, criticized, put all the I's on it. They want to
Mhm.
run from those feelings, but they're necessary because what they do for you is give you compassion, give you empathy, and allow you to see it on someone else. If you allow it to do what it's meant to do, you have the option. You can be bitter from it. And that was a long time because I could not understand. I'm like, I think I'm kind of cool to be around. I was thinking, why am I criticized and rejected so much? But it really wasn't for that. It wasn't for that. It was to make me more effective when I do interact or come in contact with people. I can see where someone is without them even talking. I can feel you because I know the feeling. I've been there. I know what it is to be rejected. Name a category of life, and I've been rejected. Right? Name something else I've been criticized for. Even criticized for being accepting. I've been criticized for everything. And you will. You get criticized for everything. It's okay. It's okay. It makes you more effective. So when I laugh, you know, those gut buster, laughs,
Yes.
it's because I've learned that people cannot hurt you. You hurt your feelings, but those are temporary hurts. And you'll survive everything because I've been through so much. You'll survive it and you'll come out on the other side if you choose to. Or you can come out bitter if you choose to. That's on you. But if you let it do what it's supposed to do, it makes you better and it makes you have empathy.
Mm.
So when I laugh, it's from a place like, it's okay, girl, it's okay. It's okay.
Right.
It gets better. It gets better. Really, it does. It gets better.
Yeah. What about you, Stefania?
Yes, I've been enjoying the conversation and listening.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I agree with what everybody's saying. What do I do? Is it more about how I've dealt with it? I'm not sure what how the question Rhonda spoke about herself. I guess I struggled in the beginning. I won't lie. I've had some real struggles. But this was a conversation we just had not long ago, recently, with Brian about acceptance. And I think my biggest lesson has been about accepting where I'm at, but where everybody else is at as well. And when you just continue doing what you do and realize that it's okay, and if it's upsetting and ruffling other people's feathers, well, it's got nothing to do with you. And you can't fix the other person, whatever they're going through. You can only question and ask. And if you're not getting that feedback, or if your presence upsets them, sometimes you just don't know. You just don't know. And you do get rejected, and you do feel abandoned, and you do feel judged, or you feel all these emotions. But I've learnt, and what's really helped me, and it's been really a big struggle, I won't lie to you, is just really surrendering, really letting go and surrendering. And for me, it's been also getting closer to God, source, energy, where I've had some conversations with God on my own, and just really asking for answers and showing me how. Because when we really, want to help and that person isn't ready, and that was my also not accepting that person's not ready, it can be detrimental. You're harming yourself, you're harming that other person, you're creating lots of waves. And you really just got to understand that your energies are not meant to be there. You've got to make that shift. So it's really being discerning about yourself as well, and the situation, and who is around you, and the circumstances. And really, not having judgment, really dropping the judgments. And that's hard. That's hard because, we're humans. We do that all the time. We're judging, why, and if only, and they should be doing this. But when you really, focus on that, it just alleviates all that pain and that self-pain. So you can keep being that vessel of love, of empathy, of compassion, without even judging yourself. And the way I do this, and I share it with my clients as well, is I put myself on a diet. And I call it a judgment-free diet. And I go on this diet for 3 days, right? Judge-free for 3 days. And when I break that diet, it's like putting a piece of chocolate or something you're not supposed to eat in your mouth, I'm going to start the diet again. That means another 3 days of non-judgment. And if you've ever done, I challenge you to do that. It is very difficult. And you're being very honest with yourself to say, I'm going on this diet of non-judgment for 3 days. And when you break it, that means you start it again. You're on that diet for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, for me,
I can see it will be an ongoing diet.
Right.
Because
it's hard. It is difficult.
Yeah.
It is very difficult.
Yeah.
But the exercise is to make you aware that what you're doing. That's the whole purpose of the diet, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's a fun way, but so for me, it's really accepting, and God has really put me in places where I've had to accept. I've had, like really surrender. And it's only then that things flow for me. So, yeah.
Awesome. So I'm gonna
So I'm curious, Annetta, which is where I don't know whether this is a rhetorical question that you're asking, or whether there's some specific situations where you can just see how, wow, I know people, or I myself would really stumble on this.
On the judgment?
On giving the place of acceptance.
Oh, giving the place of, it takes, I think, for me, see how Brian used that and turned it around and asked me.
You did really good. I saw that. That was good.
That was smooth, Brian. That was smooth.
It's very good. It's very good.
Very smooth.
Because everybody's on their own path.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find inspiration from other people.
Yes.
But the fact of the thing that's really important to remember is that love knows all truth because it doesn't corrupt it. It calls all truth to it because it wants to understand us so that it can be reunited with us. And nothing, no matter how ugly it appears to us, is taken by love as anything except knowledge that it can use to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But it needs selves to heal. To surrender yourself fully to love, to try to manifest love in the world, is to deny love the joy of loving you. So there's this paradox.
Yeah. I watched this movie. I watch it several times, and every time I watch it, it gives me new perspective, new meaning because of where I am. The maturity that I've reached, and it's called The Shack. I don't know if anybody's seen it. It's Tim McGraw and Octavia. Is it Tim McGraw? I think it's Tim McGraw. Octavia Spencer, where he is distraught by the death of his child, and it ruins the family. And they find where the daughter was in this shack in the woods, and the daughter, who was a young girl, she named God Papa. So he received this letter in the mail where there was snow and there was no tracks, and said, "Meet me at the shack, Papa." So the story goes on to where he asked, "Why are you putting me here? Why did you bring me here? This is the source of pain." And the answer was, "Well, this is where you're stuck." That was profound, but
Mm-hmm.
when the question was asked, which kid do you want to go to hell and which kid do you want to go to heaven? Because that one is disobedient. And that one doesn't pay attention to you. So which one? His answer was, "It's unfair." So that, when we look at it and we say it's unfair, so that's what love wants to do. It wants to show you just have to accept, not just have to accept, you accept the pureness of it. Love wants to get rid of whatever negativity, the pain that causes it, because pain causes hurt, it causes bitterness, it causes other things that comes with it. The disconnect. It causes judgment. It causes a whole lot of other emotions that it seems like it's hard to get to. But like what you said, the challenge, the 3-day challenge, if you mess it up, you do it again. you know, but the more you do it, the better you get, the better it is. So the more you give, the more love you give, and you get rejected, the better you get, right? Right, Rhonda? Because you've been rejected so many times.
Yeah.
The more you get rejected, the better you get. The more acceptance, the more understanding, the more compassion, the more empathy comes up in you, not in them, in you. So, as a rhetorical question, maybe it might be a rhetorical question that we ask ourselves all the time. Um, do we give without motive? Do we give without any strings attached? Do we give freely, really? Uh, and the only person that can really answer that is us.
I want to say something.
Mhm.
You know, the 3-day challenge, yeah, but yeah, but
She
does
was
it
like,
really
"Yeah."
change? Yeah, but does it really help you with that, with the judgment? Does it help you with the preconceived ideas?
I
You
would,
can.
yeah.
So here's where I'm going. So when you see or you find yourself judging, or you find yourself that there's a motive, ulterior motive, that you're looking for something in return, it's not a free love offering. It's an opportunity for you to examine yourself, to
Mm-hmm.
find out why that's there, and address yourself. What is the real motive behind it for yourself? And then you work through it. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you do the analyze that, does it really get to the root of it? Because the whole thing is to uh, offer yourself, offer love, give of yourself freely without anything attached. So you look at what's behind it. What's bringing that up? Is it your own issues? Was it the thousands of different ways I've been rejected? Most likely. The thousands of different ways that I've been misunderstood? Most likely. But to own that, work through it for myself, release it. And then the next time I encounter someone, that won't be the place it's coming from. The giving won't be coming from that place. It'll be coming from a place I resolved that issue for myself. And now when I give freely. So you can do the whole mental math thing, but that doesn't address the what's your stuff? What's in your bag? Empty out, shake your bag out. What's in there?
Right.
Well,
See,
that
There might be
reaction,
cats in there. I'm sorry.
it might be that, but the reaction told you what was in your bag, right? Your emotions.
I think that Buddha had a lot of wisdom here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, God says to Cain, when you do what is right, you will feel uplift, which means that others will pour their gratitude into you. And those others may be things unseen. And so there is something that I feel comes back to me when I love. Some of the most beautiful moments, oh my gosh, you know, of uplift. It's just an astonishing thing. And so I agree with Stefania on this point. Okay, what's happening is what a lot of these negative feedback that's projected onto us is somebody trying to get rid of something that doesn't feel good in them. And I realized when I was going through my family law crisis and just incredible things happening where there's just like evil walking around on this journey with me, and I look over here and there's it over there. I go, these people were recommended to me, you know, and they're just like, what, you know? And what happens is that I concluded that people do what's been done unto them, hoping to find somebody strong enough to show them how to heal. And what that healing is allowing that to come into you, that wound that they've been carrying around, so that thing that doesn't fit inside their hearts and their minds, putting it into somebody else, and then seeing that person just say, okay, yeah, that doesn't belong in me. And this is the Buddhist wisdom. This is what non-attachment is. It's not just about material things. The reason that we suffer in this place is because our souls are hanging on to parts that don't fit together properly. And we're a container in which they're trying to work that out. And so when you go to make a judgment and you say, I'm on this diet and I shouldn't be making this judgment, you're now in this place of looking into yourself and saying, what was that judgment about? How did I interact with that person where this is what came out of me? Why am I attached to what that person is doing? And so I don't see it as being, as Stefani is recommending, this is a passive thing.
No. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's got to be very active. What is it about me and that person? What are we holding on to in this situation? And getting to this point of letting it go, of detaching, of not being attached to the things that are uncomfortable inside of us. And the thing that's so hard about it is that we're designed as creatures to really pay attention to the things that don't feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, hi, Patricia. Patricia said you must want to explore those depths of truth and be crystal clear where those emotions are coming from. I think it's coming more from awareness, because we're taught as human beings to look outward, because that's how our makeup is to look outward. We don't look inward. It's not an instinct to look inward. It's always to look outward, because that's how we're made. We're made to look out. As kids, we're told, look here, look here. So early on, we're already taught to look outward, not in. Only time we're told to look in is when bad. You don't do that. So the inward now becomes negative, and we don't want to do that because it makes us not feel good. I think with the judgment, I mean, to each his own. We're talking about everybody's on their own journey, and for those that do the judgment challenge, it becomes an awareness, and where I think where that goes is we're using the word giving, right? The power of giving. So when you give, if you look at the word for give, it means you're giving, you're forgiving, you're doing it ahead, for giving. So when we're giving of ourselves. We're giving, we're already looking inward and then we're giving it out. So in the challenge of, you can correct me, Stefania, because this is what I understood what you were talking about. The challenge is that it gives you the unawareness. You know, you want to be in a place of non-judgment.
Exactly. And that's why I engage in it, because for me, that's a modality to help me understand where I'm at. Now, it may not work for you, it may not work for Rhonda, it may not work for Brian or May, but that for me, that's just something which I can use as a tool to remind myself. It's like putting your alarm clock on that, every hour on the hour, you've got to do something. I don't know. So for me, that's and yes, as Brian said, it helps me be a better person. I'm always wanting to be better and improving and bettering myself. I'm not perfect, and but I do want to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And
So can I ask you what prompted you to start that judgment free diet?
What prompted me? I think because I looked at myself as well, and the judgments I even placed on myself.
Mm.
It's not about what I was judging others, but well, yeah, I was doing it to myself, and I was doing it externally and hearing it from other people, and this whole thing was like, oh, it just doesn't sit right. It's not feeling right with me. How can I, like, alleviate this? How can it's painful when you really connect with that. That means you're growing. I've been growing, and we have growing pains. So I really dug deep, and in the interim, some people, in my circle of friends didn't like that. There was a change in me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I want to be Mrs. Perfect and I want to be like, kumbaya, let's get together and dance around the circle. No, I might come across like, yeah, come on, let's do kumbaya tonight virtually on,
I
Street.
think it's fun. I tease you with that, right?
I know, and I love it. Because I was like that as even a child. He was like, come on, let's do hopscotch or let's skip together. Let's get on the skipping rope and do the three of us. Let's skip. No. Well, why not? Why can't we do it? We can do it. Like that's all stuff that and I'm talking this as child, which is then transferred into my adult life, right? And there's a part of me that's still childlike, and I just couldn't understand. Well, what's the problem? What's wrong? I still love you. It doesn't matter. So yeah, that's where all that prompted, and it was all looking within, looking at my own judgments, looking at my own self-judgment, and really growing. Yeah, really growing, and it's been hard. It's been painful, but this is the real beautiful thing, is because now I can walk with my clients through that journey. Because I know the pain it entails, so I can empathize with them and have compassion, I guess. So, yeah, that's why. Hope I've answered your
Was
question.
there a certain instant? Was there a certain thing that happened, or was it a compilation of things, or was it just you saying, you know what, I'm just tired? Because we always talk about self love. We need to practice self love. We need to give ourselves a break. We need, so all of these things. But then but you're talking about judgment. That's a total different, hate free zone. Let's do a hate free zone. Ooh, I do not like that food. I'm teaching this little one to say that is just disgusting. No, that's your taste. To somebody else's taste, that is delicious. So, no hate zone, right? It's almost the same thing.
Mm.
Would you think, Brian?
People people who get really depressed, they stop liking the taste of food. Okay, when they get really, really bad. Okay, and I found myself wondering whether or not when mommy puts that spoon in your mouth and says, nom nom, this is so good. What actually happens is that the subconscious learns to filter out the disgusting so that you like it because mommy tells you it's good. And what happens is you're getting more and more depressed, and it's taking your personality. It actually strips everything away. It's looking for what really does taste good. Let's get rid of that filter because obviously this food doesn't make me happy anymore. Okay, let's just get rid of everything. Get that to the real base truth of what things taste like, so we can find something that we actually like. so it may be that yes, it is disgusting to them at this point because you're teaching them how to like it.
Well, that is one thing that I didn't do to my kids is that if they didn't like it, their taste buds, because I know the taste buds change as you grow older. So when they didn't like it, I didn't force them,
Yeah.
but I taught them not to say that's disgusting, because to others, like, I know some of you might not like this, but I love Brussels sprouts. Just love it. I love see some of them like, ugh. My husband can't stand Brussels sprouts. He's like, that is the most disgusting. I'm like, no.
Well, men have these associations with golf balls, okay?
Yeah. So I'm teaching her, just because it doesn't taste good to you, just because it tastes disgusting to you, does not mean you need to make a statement that it is. Because to others, it's delicious. She made a statement that Brussels sprouts are disgusting. And I said, no, to me, it's delicious. So you don't say that. You just say, no, thank you.
Right.
That's not my taste.
But they're going to get back to the flow. But again, this is this non-judgment zone, and you're preparing your child to live in to not communicate in a way whereby other people feel judged. To just simply say, to me, this is what this tastes like, kind of a thing, as opposed to making it categorical. This is disgusting. Right. One of the things that I got into doing was turning to the critical voices when they came on and saying to them, you really seem to know a lot about this situation. Could you offer me something that's helpful? And to co-opt them. I really thank you for the warning. I really appreciate that. Okay. And I've got that in mind and I'm paying attention. Now, can you go around and look for solutions in the rest of the line? Okay. And bring me back a solution. I'd really appreciate that. And so there's, it's killing it with kindness kind of a thing. It's not saying no to the judgment. It's saying, yes, thank you. And, always thank you. And creating more and trying to integrate that idea in a useful way, that thought pattern in a useful way with the rest of your personality.
And isn't that part of giving as well?
Pardon?
And that is part of giving as well, giving yourself space. So even though we're talking about judgments and judgment-free and whatever, but it is also giving space to yourself to acknowledging it. It's a gift of, I see it as a gift. I don't know if you do, but it's part of giving.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. It is a gift, because anything that we say to each other is a gift. Because we're speaking, whatever we're speaking, we're giving. And when we speak, we don't understand that our words carry some weight, something. Because all it is, if we really boil it down to its rawest form, it's just a bunch of letters put together to make up a word, and then words make up a sentence. That's at its rawest form. But it becomes a weapon when you use those same rawest form and you give it out, then it carries something. So being aware of what you're giving, being aware of what you're saying, say it with love. Like what Brian said last week, your vice, put some love, and it becomes a virtue. My sharp tongue before.
Before.
Don't be giving me out. Don't be outing me. I was like,
Before.
Before. Okay,
Come on, she's come
I'm
a
a
long
work
way
in
in 30
progress.
minutes, Rhonda. Give her some
Okay,
give her some
okay, okay.
credit, okay?
I'm a work in progress. I'm a work in
Okay, okay. Oh, wow.
filter up.
Okay.
Yeah, so couple it with love, and it becomes a virtue. You can still say some things to certain individuals, especially with coaching, right? With coaching or teaching Bible study, teaching kids, whatever it is, you give it with love, and it's accepted. Even though sometimes we're like, ooh, yeah, yeah, that is true. It does hurt, but I see it. It's accepted because now
And
you've coupled it.
love is always an invitation. Always.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things that I talk to my clients about in terms of the process of giving is I do this heart box thing. Okay. Which is you have something that you want to share with somebody, and you build that vision of that experience for yourself in your mind and what it's going to feel like for you. And you take a little box out of your heart and you put it inside. And then you put it back in your heart. And then when you encounter that person, you just do this. It's not obvious, and hold the box out to them and invite them. And if they say no, you just put that box back in your heart.
Beautiful.
And you just keep on building every time more and more energy in that invitation, as opposed to pushing it at them, pushing it on them, and it getting blown up and scattered to the winds and corrupted by
Mhm.
energy of force and power that has nothing to do with the experience,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And what happens is if they say no enough times, that box in your heart is going to call somebody to you that really freaking wants to do what it is that
Right.
you're imagining doing. Okay, and it's just going to call a person out of the world for you. But that's that process of always inviting, creating that image in your mind for yourself, what it's going to feel like and what kind of energy you're going to offer into that situation, and building that up. And so it's when you talk about are you giving for yourself, when you do it as an invitation, as opposed to I have to have this, I expect this to happen. Okay, then it stays with you. You can always put it back in your heart, and it builds and it builds and it builds. And this is a discipline whereby when it finally is received, okay, it's this beautiful experience for you.
Yeah. Rhonda, what you contemplating over there?
Oh, there's so many things. There are so many things. What the main one is about words,
Mm-hmm.
um, the giver and the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, in their purest form, they are letters put together, but don't underestimate their power.
Mm-hmm.
Words can create, words can destroy.
Destroy. Mm-hmm.
Um, it it has a greater impact based on who the giver is, and for the receiver, how much importance they put on the giver. So in
Right.
other words, it's like considering your source. So words coming from your mother that are harsh have
Mm-hmm.
a greater impact than someone on the bus stop
Right.
that's harsh, right? But words are powerful.
Yes.
Um, they help you accept the world as an abundant place, or they hinder you from accepting the world as an abundant place
Mm-hmm.
based on whether you receive it, and based on um, how much you take stock in what someone says to you. So they're powerful, powerful. Um, I don't think, and this is just me being transparent. You and I've had some very pointed conversations,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I'd be where I am right now without the words that were spoken. Some of them were, harsh. I took them harsh, but they were necessary. And they were received from you because, you're allowed into that space.
Yeah.
But they have the power to create. They have the power to get you unstuck if you're stuck in your life. They have the power to shift your way of thinking, um, to be more abundant, right? They have power.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we should um, underestimate them. They how that's how things are created. You can even create your own individual space by what you speak.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
you're negative and be and whatever, you can feel it. You walk in a room, it's like, oh, what happened here? Or if you're lively and bubbly, you can feel that too. Someone's words were released, you can feel that. So yeah, they pack a punch.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
They pack a
Yes.
punch.
Yes. They do. They do. And that's why I like these conversations that we're having, because you have the Brian perspective, in his uh, experience and his knowledge and wisdom that he gained from his trauma, his pain, to share. Same thing with Stefania, her trauma, her pain, and her the wisdom that she gained from that, and the knowledge that she can bring forth. Same thing with you. Because what trauma does, it brings forth something, the power of
Mm-hmm.
pain. uh, it gives you this awareness of life. The first thing that medics do when
They
you get
check
into
for
an
signs of life.
accident,
Yeah, that's true.
they
Mm-hmm.
s- they try to sense,
Mm-hmm.
is there life? Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're in an accident, I remember um, I was sprinting the 2 mile run when I was in the military. I was sprinting, and as I turned the corner, I don't know what happened. I felt a snap, and I fell to the ground, and I didn't feel anything. And the first thing that the my drill sergeant came, and he was like, can you feel this? No. And all I could say is no, I can't feel anything. Paramedics came. So pain,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I understood. Pain lets you know that there's life.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's so when you go through pain, when you go through trauma, it gives you that life, that sense of life. There's a lesson for it. There's a lesson to be learned. There's nuggets. There's wisdom. There's knowledge. And once you get that, then you give it. You give it to others, that so that like what you said, Brian, you can learn from others. Look, it doesn't need. I don't need to experience ODing for me. I've heard your testimony. You did that, and that's what. Yes, I will learn from you. I don't need to learn it or experience it on my own. I take your word for it. But there are certain things that we have to go through. Each and every one of us. We are on our own journey. Each and every one of us have to go through these certain things, so that we can give. And that's what this is all about: is to give. Give the words of life, give the words of wisdom, give the words of understanding, give the words. of camaraderie, give the words of friendship, um, you know, and uh, no judgment.
Yeah,
Now, why did you laugh there?
there's
Now, why did you laugh there like that?
I have to do that,
I know,
Stefan.
I like it. I like it. I'm just putting why.
there's a there's something that there's just a dimension to this whole thing that we haven't touched on, and it's a very long conversation, and I think that we could spend a whole session just talking about this.
Oh, it looks like we're gonna have a new topic that we're gonna talk about on Fun
Yeah,
Friday.
but it's in something that it's a gift that Jesus gives to the disciples. Okay, I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven.
Mm,
What you bind here on earth will be bound in heaven, and what you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. What we don't appreciate is that this experience that we're having here, we are having because heaven had problems. And it's when we're in bodies that we have sufficient density to reorganize what's going on in heaven. And that is what words signify.
yes.
Words are a way of attaching to a spiritual construct in introducing somebody else to it or imposing it upon them.
Mm,
And so when we use words, we are binding, we are loosing, we are doing all of this work. And where the real meaning is in spirit.
yeah.
And this is what's so profound about that gift. And if
Hmm.
there's anything that I think it's to be intentional about, is to realize that when you get to that point, as Stefania said, where you're going to make a judgment, to realize that that's something that utilizes pain to generate power
Hmm.
and strength. That's something reaching into the world through you, which is trying to maintain its influence. And the reason why it chooses us and why people of grace have got to fight this so hard is because people look to us. And when we say something that's harsh to them, just as you were saying, Rhonda, it really causes them pain because they've made themselves vulnerable to us. And that's the trick. That's the thing that's so hard to do. This is why people of grace quite often are people who are possessed. They're the ones that end up being possessed because they're assaulted by these things because they want to corrupt the grace which they, shine into the world. They want to draw people close, allow that to be seen, and then eat them up.
Mm,
Okay. It's a very, very, so there's a whole aspect of this process,
yeah.
which makes this so much more difficult and so much deeper, in terms of the work that we do and understanding what we're gaining from the work that we do.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
that there's a whole community of creatures, of personalities out there that are just calling out to us, hoping that we come through
Yeah. Yeah.
because they know that our success is their success, that
Yes.
we're doing this for them. To be alive is a gift to things that can't take care of themselves. They can't do for themselves. And
Yeah.
we are here in our lives doing for things they can't do for themselves. And they are very grateful to us. We're not what's wrong with the world, we're the medicine, is the way that I put it.
Yes. Yes. And how you doing, sis? That's Carla Anderson. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate you. And Jesse, thank you so much for joining also. Um, and I like what you said that there are some that are waiting for us, and um, there's going to be a time where I'm gonna call Rhonda. Rhonda, you better talk me off the ledge.
Yeah.
I'm depleted. I feel myself about to blow. So I have somebody. I have. one that I have communed with, that I have exchanged words with, that I know that what she will tell me or give me is what I actually need to grow, to be able to come back on track. You know, there's so many things that uh, we have put giving into in a way that we lose the sense of the intention. We lose that. We lose the intention. So, what is the intention? It could be good intention. It could be bad intention. You know, so the intention, or being cognitive or aware of what we are saying, we're giving. That is, uh, something that could be better in the world. Like what you said, we're here to heal, not to make this a more of a mess than what we have. I was speaking something over myself, and I said, I don't know how long it's going to take me to fix this. You said, oh, I said it. I just need to speak something different. What I spoke had to die so newness can come to life. You said we just spoke it. Let me see.
It's gone. It's
No,
deleted.
It's gone.
I just need to speak something different. What I spoke had to die so newness can come to life. You said we just spoke it. It's gone. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what it is. If we understand the power of giving is because God is a giving God. He gave us life. He breathed life. He gave us the power of choice. He gave us the ability to do. I don't know if I can walk on water, but Jesus said, "What I had done, you can do
You
more."
can do it too.
But
Mhm.
but
You
Go
don't.
to
You
work.
don't. The whole proposition is you don't have meaning unless something bears witness to you.
yeah,
And
Mhm.
what would you choose? What else would you choose to bear? What preference could you have for anything else over
mm-hmm,
than to be witnessed to by love?
yes,
And that's really what the Christian proposition is that I choose to allow love to witness me. And this is the tragedy of the Garden of Eden. That
Mm.
God comes into the garden and says, Adam and Eve, where are you? Where are you?
Well,
And what happens then? You
oh,
go to Mary in this season and what's leading up to her. And she's bearing witness to her people suffering. And she reads in the books and it says what women do is they bring saviors into the world. And she prays every night, God, send your people a savior. And maybe like my aunt hasn't had a child yet, and that's just like Samuel's mother. Maybe she could be the one. She's been waiting so long. She's wanted this so much. And the angel comes down to Mary and says, "You have found favor in heaven.
mm,
Yes, it will be done. And this is how." And she thinks about it and she says, "What does this mean under the law?
mm,
This means that I die."
mm,
And she says, "Here am I."
mm.
She was the Christmas Eve. That's just a funny coincidence of words. But
mm-hmm,
she
Mm.
undid what happened in Eden by simply standing in witness of love under the threat of death. Rather than turning from love into death and hiding from love into death, she's standing in the shadow of death and says, "See me. Here am I." What a gift.
Mhm.
What a gift.
And that is what love asks of us. That's all that it asks for us, is to allow
Mhm.
it to witness us.
Mhm.
And what else would we choose to be witnessed by? I'm sorry to get so emotional. This is
No,
Yeah.
what you said
very
was
central to
wonderful.
me. Yeah, it's very central to me in my life.
And
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 I'm
I
afraid
can,
I have a client call in 10 minutes and I need to kind of get myself reorganized. So
can I say something before
Thank
you
you.
leave,
Yeah.
Brian?
Yeah.
Before you leave, what you said is that I am enough.
Hmm.
Because what happened in the garden was Eve didn't believe that God
Hmm.
created her enough. She
Right.
was enough, but she
Right.
thought that she needed something else added to her to
Right.
make her enough. But in your current state, without any additions, you are enough. And that was what that message was, that you're enough. And
Mm-hmm.
and to take it further, Mary showed up as enough.
Right.
She said, "Here I am." In threat of death, but she still showed up as, "I'm enough. Here I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Right.
do it."
You tell me I'm enough, and I trust you, love, to know so. And so
Exactly.
Yes.
use me.
Exactly.
Use me.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In my current
Right.
form.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
The same thing that Moses did. He
Mm-hmm.
got to that point. Just
Mm-hmm.
use me. Okay.
Yes.
I see I can't do this myself, but through me you can do it. So use me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're
Thank
Brian.
welcome.
you so much.
Have a great
Beautiful.
night, and may the spirit of love be with you all in this season. It's
Thank
such a
you.
wonderful
Thank
moment.
you, Brian.
All right. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. So, woof.
Oh, that was special. It was. It was special.
Yes. So, in 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 this season, I mean, even tomorrow, you know, well, you're in Christmas Eve, and and this is the dubbed time of giving,
Mm-hmm.
which we need to do every day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the thing about the power of giving, the power of words, the power of awareness, of knowing where you're at, knowing what you need work on, um, is essentially being able to give that back,
Mm-hmm.
being able to say, I am here, use me. So if I must go through whatever it is, so be it. In the process that I might see death. So if you look at the different traumas that we've been through, there were certain times that we probably thought, I know I did, that there were times where I wanted to see death. I
Oh,
didn't see the
yeah.
power in it.
I
I
almost
just saw
drove
the
my car
pain.
into a wall.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did. I was on the expressway and almost drove my car into the median on the
Yeah.
expressway because I can take it anymore. It
These
was,
are real
yeah,
things.
these are real.
These are real emotions and thoughts that comes to us when we go
Mm-hmm.
through these traumas. And that's why I like these, conversations that we're having so that we can actually give, meaning and show the audience and each other that you know there is life after. There is, after the trauma, it becomes triumph. The pain
Mm-hmm.
becomes power. It draws from it. It gives you strength. It gives you wisdom. It gives you knowledge. It gives you this ability to grab another person and pull them up as well. You know. So yeah. So the power of giving.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
power of giving.
There's one thing I want to talk about that Brian alluded to.
Mhm.
Um, the idea of people being to you. That there are certain ones who will hear you, hear your voice, and that you can influence. That's not everyone, but there are particular people who are assigned to your voice. And when you talk about giving or the process to be able to give, because we're not giving by nature, we kind of come here selfish. You don't have to teach a baby to be selfish. They come here that way. My binky, my bottle, my. I think that's the my. I think that's the first word they learn. My. But the process of being able to give, when you go through your process of that, there are certain ones that are assigned to your voice where, everyone isn't, but there are particular ones that when you speak, they hear you and you have influence on their outcome. And so Brian alluded to that, but we were, kind of going on the journey with him. So it's great. But he alluded, there are ones who are assigned to us and they're waiting for us to show up.
Yeah. And when another thing about words and about, what we say and who we talk to and who we hear is that each of our voice, each of our makeup, how we talk, we have our own frequency. We have our own. It's like a fingerprint with our voice. We have that, and so when you speak, the frequency when it matches, then they're able to hear. There's this sound that the teenagers can hear, and when you're over a certain age, you can't hear it because of the frequency. There's a frequency that dogs can only hear, and they howl. We can't hear it. So when you match the frequency, and that's why sometimes pastors, parents, siblings, loved ones get upset when they've said the same thing over and over and over again, but when it comes from somebody else, they say the same thing. Oh, no, 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 no. No, don't. This computer is telling me to restart. I said no. Tomorrow, yes. Thank you. It was about to restart, y'all.
Oh no.
I'm like, no. So yeah, when somebody else says it, they get offended. Well, I've been telling you this the whole time. But it wasn't the right frequency. It wasn't the right person. It wasn't the right. So continue to speak, talk, voice out, and continue to give out those words of life, words of wisdom, words of positivity. And we went over an hour.
We did. I'm looking at this. It's an hour and a half.
I know. I kept on looking. I was like, oh.
We could easily go on. We could.
Yeah,
we could easily. Because this is what's needed right now. It's really not about Christmas or the holidays or
no, it isn't
any of that. It's what's needed in the world right now.
Yeah.
People need a safe place.
They do.
To be vulnerable. And then people need to be able to give. Yeah. And know that they're okay in their current state. They don't have to change anything. There's some things that may need to change, but they don't have to change anything to be accepted.
Right.
And that's a gift.
Yes.
And I think this holiday, more than any other, that's the gift that needs to be given.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Stefania. She's like, amen.
Amen. I know, right? Amen.
Well, thank you, ladies, for agreeing and, coming on a special that we had to do. And it was a request of part 2. So maybe it might be a part 3. Don't know.
Maybe. If there's more.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like there's more. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna, end it here, and we thank you for those that hung with us. Thank you so much. For those that are on YouTube and Facebook, and for those that are on Stefania's page, thank you so much for joining us and this impromptu. I know we said we weren't coming on, but by request, we went ahead and did it. So thank you for those that are giving feedback, giving requests. We do listen to you. We do take your requests and your feedback, and we take a look at it and see what we can talk about. And this was one of them, was giving, because it was the season.
Every day should be the season every day. So
Yes.
let's make it an everyday season of giving.
That's right. That's right. So as we always do, we are going to give our last thoughts, our last little advice, words of wisdom, words of knowledge, words of love. Stefania.
When all else fails, do the kumbaya thing. Join hands and do kumbaya.
Oh my goodness.
Love it.
That's
When
funny.
all else fails, do the kumbaya.
Do the
Yes.
kumbaya thing.
Do the kumbaya thing. That's right.
That's my bit for the end of the season.
All right. Let's all kumbaya.
Kumbaya. Sing it.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to do it a little different this time. I'm going to go next. And then, Rhonda, you're going to close us out.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Me, when all else fail, kumbaya. No, I'm playing. Kumbaya, my lord. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. Just be mindful of the words that comes out of your mouth. Not only for the person who hears it, but it also shows what's inside of you. Because what you speak is what's coming from the inside. So if you're speaking negativity, that means there's negativity on the inside, because you can only give what's on the inside.
What's on the inside?
So when you speak words, give it love, and then you'll speak words of life. Take it away, Rhonda.
What I have on this one is give of yourself. You are enough. The best gift you can give is yourself. And you are enough as you are. That doesn't cost money.
Amen to that.
That doesn't cost money.
I'm a kumbaya on that. Go ahead and close this out, Rhonda.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being into Fun Fresh Fridays. We have truly enjoyed the conversation, and thank for everyone who gave their comments and took the time to tune in. We'll be back not next week, but in the first of the year. So until then, have a wonderful night. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.